There are a handful of fan bases in the horror genre that are quick to pounce if you say something they disagree with regarding one of their favorite franchises. And one of those fandoms is the Scream fan base. So today, I want to give you guys some of my hot takes. What could go wrong?
We stopped at a light and saw him walking in that field behind the Lost River Drive-In. Julie said he was so creepy.
Hey, what's up everybody? Nick here, and today I want to give you guys some of my piping hot takes with the Scream franchise. Now this one was actually really easy to put together. I sat down and I was like, what are some hot takes I have with Scream? And I was like, oh yeah, I have a lot of hot takes. Now, getting into this, I just want to say, as I always do, it's just my opinion. I am not saying I'm right. I'm well aware that Scream fans will be quick to come at me if I say something they disagree with. So try to remember, these are just my opinions, it's just how I feel. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just giving you a little peek inside my mind as to how I feel regarding certain topics with the Scream franchise. So my first hot take here is that Scream 3's reveal is top tier. Now, what do I mean by top tier? Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's one of the best in the franchise. I would actually put it as the second best, behind only the original. Now, that's not really saying much because I feel like the last couple movies especially, the reveal wasn't all that surprising. But it's deeper than that with Scream 3. Not only do I feel like the reveal is insanely surprising and nobody really saw it coming, but when you unravel the reasoning behind it, it's actually that much cooler. Now, there are definitely people that take issue with the end of Scream 3 because it blatantly says that Roman essentially put Billy and Stu up to what they did in the first movie, and that Roman was the one masterminding it all. To me, I never took issue with that. If anything, I thought it made more sense, because in watching Scream, I never felt like Billy and Stu were all that cold and calculated. I never thought they were these like masterminds, these geniuses. No, I thought they were impulsive. I thought Billy was very easily angered and would act on that anger, and I thought Stu was just a follower that did it for his friend's approval and because he's kind of crazy. He had a bloodlust. So Roman being the one that planted the seed to get them to do this, I think makes complete sense. And then to have Roman be Sidney's long-lost brother, I don't know, I'm just partial to that. Whether it's Laurie Strode and Michael Myers or Luke and Darth Vader, like, I kind of love these familial connections. But furthermore, I just think it's a balls-to-the-wall final act, and it's emotional. There's stakes there, and you almost kind of feel bad for Roman. At the same time, you want to see him die. It's a weird dance that they do, but they do it really well. If Scream 3 had been the end of the franchise, I think it would have ended on an insanely high note. You guys know I like this movie, but regardless of your thoughts on the movie as a whole, I think the ending is awesome. My next hot take is that Scream 2 is overrated. And I know that there's a lot of Scream fans that are probably like, what are you talking about? Scream 2 is easily one of the best sequels in the franchise. It meshes perfectly with the original. Yes and no. It does mesh perfectly with the original because it feels like it's playing a lot of the same beats the original did, just to far lesser effect. I'm not saying Scream 2 is bad. I don't think there's a bad movie in this franchise. I've been over that with you guys many times. However, I just think Scream 2 is, I don't know, almost too predictable, almost too uninteresting. It feels very paint by the numbers. Nothing about it really screams, oh my gosh, this is just so unique and exciting. It plays it relatively safe. And the one big risk they take in killing off Randy was a huge mistake because the franchise has never been able to replicate that character. Now I know at the time it seemed like a good idea, like, oh yeah, this is one of our main characters, not even he's safe, so no one is, right? Look, I get the impulse behind that, but I just think they shot themselves in the foot. And if they could do it over again, I don't think they would kill Randy. I don't hate Scream 2, I just find it really kind of bland. It hasn't aged as well. I quite like the third act. I think that Laurie Metcalf brings great energy in that third act, but overall, the movie is largely forgettable for me, and I feel like if I want to watch one of these movies, it's going to be Scream, not Scream 2. My next hot take, and this is one that I know I'm going to catch crap for, is that Scream 4's killer reveal is kind of lame. And I know a lot of people love Jill Roberts. They love that reveal. They love Emma's performance. I totally get all of it. I'm not even saying I don't like Emma in the movie. I think Emma does a good job, and especially when she is beating the crap out of herself to sell the fact that she was attacked and she was like the lone survivor, she goes for it, and I commend her for that. But I just feel like it's so hokey. Like everything regarding that reveal just does not seem real to me. It seems so over the top. And I know a lot of people will say that Scream 4 was ahead of its time, and I could even agree to an extent with that. But I just don't really buy the motivation for why you would kill all of your friends. Like, that just doesn't seem real to me. Now, that's just a taste thing. To others, that probably makes total sense, but I just don't buy it. And then furthermore, with Charlie and Jill being the ones behind the killings, that's really hard for me to get behind. Because up to this point in this series, they've all been pretty able-bodied, like, adults. And that was not the case with Scream 4. Like, Emma Roberts and Rory Culkin are not big people at all. They're not intimidating people physically at all. I think that Sidney Prescott could beat either one of their asses relatively easily. Furthermore, I think Charlie is seriously just cannon fodder. And I guess that was the point, but wow, what a way to just disappoint me. Because if anything, I wanted to have Charlie have some like grand reason for why he was doing this, and maybe he betrays Jill. But it goes so paint by the numbers, like, oh no, I'm gonna kill you too, because I have to be the sole survivor. I just don't buy the third act at all. And then when we get into the extended hospital ending, I really just feel like this movie gets a little too long in the tooth. Now, you guys know Scream 4 is my least favorite in the franchise. And like I said, I know a lot of people will defend the reveal of Jill. I just don't care for it. I'm never going to be able to get behind it, and I'm never going to be able to buy that the two of them did all of that, especially for the reasons they did. My next hot take is that Scream 6 is underrated. And I didn't really think this was a hot take until recently, and I've gauged the Scream fan base and been like, wow, there's a lot of Scream fans that don't like Scream 6, and it kind of baffled me. I went into Scream 6 relatively hyped, like I was excited. Those trailers really sold me. I was definitely trepidatious at the same time because I didn't know how they were going to pull this off without Sidney. And watching this movie, there's definitely a hole there, and that hole is left by Neve Campbell's absence, and it's undeniable. But the one thing that I liked with this movie is that they fully dedicated their time and their energy to these characters they had set up in the previous movie. And it helped that they all gave better performances, and the writing seemed to be better, especially just with characters and interpersonal relationships. It just felt more real to me. I bought into this core four. I bought into Melissa Barrera's performance, and Jenna Ortega's, and Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown. A lot of characters I did not care for in the last movie aside from Jenna. They all won me over in this one. I also just think that this movie is super fun. Like, we see Ghostface do things we have not seen Ghostface do up to this point. And when it's revealed that it's Detective Bailey in the third act of the movie, it makes sense how Ghostface could have done a lot of these things, because he's a big dude. Obviously, he wasn't doing all of the killings, because you had Quinn and Ethan as well, but you know what I mean. Specifically, that bodega scene where Ghostface is just physically imposing and a badass, like, yeah, I was like, this is pretty awesome. I just think that Scream 6 finally took the ball and ran with it, where Scream 5 seemed to be stuck in this weird, do we go with this or do we go with that approach? Scream 6 was like, this is what we got and we're going for it. I really dig this movie. Now, whether you love this movie or you just find it fine, I do think that the sentiment is really soured on it, and I don't understand why. Because at the end of the day, I think it has some of the most suspenseful chase sequences in the franchise. I think it's got great kills. I think it's just super good slasher fun. And sometimes that's all I'm asking for. My next hot take is that Scream 5 has aged poorly and continues to age poorly. Look, I was on cloud 9 when this thing was announced. We had all been waiting like a decade for a new Scream movie, and we never knew if it was going to happen. And then when you announce that David, Neve, and Courtney are coming back, it's like, all right, Scream is really back. So I was excited. And going into this movie, I feel like that really lent itself to the movie's favor because I was just happy to see some of these characters and these worlds on screen again. But as time has gone on, I've really soured on it. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. But the biggest one is I don't think the new characters get enough to do. I don't think the performances are really all that strong. And I think by the time you get to the third act and you really get to focus on the OG characters, it's too little too late. And it makes you wish What if we would just gotten a movie where we had the original characters be the stars of this film? I understand you want to bring new blood into it, and that's the requel trend, but I just feel like not enough focus was put on our original trio. Aside from David Arquette, Dewey does get a lot more to do in this movie than the other two, but of course they kill him off. And I understand why they do that. Oh, we're raising the stakes, nobody's safe. I get it, but really, you bring him in to have a bigger role just to kill him while the other two basically get sidelined till the third act? I don't know. I'm just not about it. I understand that Radio Silence wanted to show that nobody was safe. So at the end of the day, I think Radio Silence at least proved that they get Scream and they know what the fans like. I just don't think they did enough of what the fans liked in Scream 5. And then my last hot take here for this video might be one of the hottest ones I have. And that is that Scream 7 will be bigger than 5 and 6. Now, it is no doubt, everybody knows that Scream 7 has a little bit of an albatross around its neck. There is a contingent of people that are very vocal against this movie. They don't want to go see it, they're telling others not to go see it, they're even talking about spoiling it. I've said before, that's really weird behavior. If you choose to see it or not, that is your right. But trying to ruin the experience for other people is just weird energy. However, I don't think it's going to matter. Because look, horror is hot right now. And with Neve Campbell back as the lead and not a secondary character, I think it's going to bring a lot of these OG fans back to the theater. When I made a video on Scream 7 a couple weeks ago, I saw some comments from people saying, I haven't been to the theater in a while, but I'm going to go for Scream 7. And that's because they're excited to see Sidney Prescott take the reins as the final girl in a Scream movie. We haven't had a Sidney-centric Scream film since Scream 3. It's been 25 years. I'd say it's long past due for us to get one. I also just think the marketing machine behind this has already been off to a really strong start, and it's only going to get stronger. I think the fact that you have Kevin Williamson back as director this time, for the first time in the Scream franchise, but the original writer, is a big deal to a lot of fans as well. And they're dropping it in February, where there's not going to be a ton of competition. I think it's going to really eat up some box office for a few weeks at least. And the early word from these test screenings, I know they're just test screenings, but they've been really positive. Like, people are saying, I'm hearing Scream 7 is really good. So, I don't know. I have no reason to doubt Kevin and Neve. So, I think some people are going to be, surprised and maybe disappointed to see Scream 7 do as well as it is, because I think it's going to be a bigger hit than the previous two. Alright, so if I had to guess, my Scream 2 and Scream 4 takes will probably be the ones that piss the most people off in this video. Understand, I'm not trying to make you mad, I'm just giving you some of my more controversial takes with the Scream franchise. But I want to know down below if you guys agree with these takes, or if you are vehemently opposed to them. Whatever it is, please sound off down below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I want you to know that yes, you've asked for it, and it is coming. The next one will be a Chucky Hot Takes. So please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I'm pulling out.